Hello everyone, welcome back to the second part of our Oracle 19C installation series. Today we are going to be looking at how to install Oracle Database 19C using the default response file. This is an option that is helpful, particularly when you are working in a production environment where the graphical user interface might be restricted, or where there's no option to start the Oracle Universal Installer. So let's get started. Alright, so first and foremost, let's ensure that our Oracle environment variables are correctly set. We need to type some series of commands to check whether our environment are set. So we're going to the Oracle user. Let's clear the screen here. So let's do export Oracle home equals U01 app Oracle product, the version 19.3 and the database home. Press enter. Let's export Oracle SID. Today we're going to be installing a dev database, so development environment. Press enter. Let's export our Oracle base equals U01 app Oracle. Alright, so that looks good, and let's check if everything is set correctly. Environment, we'll pipe it into grep.ora. Enter. So what we have is an Oracle SID dev. We have our Oracle base correctly set. We have our host name and the Oracle home set. Now let's take a quick look in our bash profile to see the information in our bash profile. So Oracle user, so are we vi into bash profile. All right, everything looks good. Host name, unique name, Oracle base, Oracle home. Of course we are installing the dev database, so that's fine. So you should now see the Oracle environment variable display on your screen when you type the command that I typed earlier on. This command, you should see everything listed for you. Now, to store all our Oracle files, let's get started by creating all the necessary directories. So we're going to need some directories to store all the files, all our redo log files, control files, and all the Oracle base data files. The first directory that I want to create is our Oracle home. So I'll say mkdir -p U01 app Oracle product 19.3 and the database home. That's our Oracle home. Now the next directory we need to create is our inventory. So I will say mkdir -p U01 app Oracle inventory. Perfect. And the last directory that I want to create is for our data files. mkdir-p. So u01 app Oracle Aura data. Perfect. Now let's set some group ownership and some permissions. So change ownership to Oracle or install, and then the user1 directory, and then change permission of that directory to 775. Perfect. So now we create all our directories and we set the permissions on them, and also we set the group ownership correctly. These directories are crucial for Oracle 19c installation when you're using the response file. So the next step is to extract Oracle installation files into our Oracle home location. If you remember how we've been doing for in our past lecture. So we need to extract the Oracle binary files that we downloaded into the Oracle home location. Now we go back to the staging location, U01 staging, and we check the content of that. We have our Oracle binary file. It's still in zip form, and let's check the content of our Oracle home location. So we say ls-l Oracle home, and there is nothing inside. So what we're going to do is we are going to unzip the binary file with a switch of -d, and we point it to our Oracle home location. We press enter. So this is not new to if you've been following the series. This is not really new. We're just unpacking the files that we downloaded from the Oracle e-delivery site. And we are placing all of those files into the Oracle home location. Perfect. Now our file completed extracting successfully. Let's change the directory to the Oracle home location. So change directory to Oracle home. Let's clear the screen and let's list the content of Oracle home. Okay, as usual, all our files are extracted into Oracle home. Now the next step is to work on our response files. When we're dealing with response file installation, we have to edit the default response files that Oracle already provided for us, and their location is different. So we're going to actually edit 3 sets of different response files. The first response file that we need to edit is called db_install.response, and that is database installation of our base Oracle 19C software. The second type of response file that we're going to edit is the netca.rsp, which is our network configuration assistant response file. And then finally we're going to move to dbca.rsp, which is dbca response file. So to start with the first response file, which is for the database installation, we need to change directory from our Oracle home to the install. There's an install location here. I believe there's an install location here. Yes, press enter. Let's list the content of that. Perfect. And we see that inside the install location there is a directory known as response. So we're going to change directory into that as well. Let's cd into response. Press enter. List the content. So db install.rsp. We're going to edit this file because we need it to we need to make a call to that file so that it can install the base 19C files for us. So let's do vi db install.rsp. All we did, we just open the file and press I to insert so that we can edit it. Now it's not a big file. We're just going to be entering some correct values that we want in our environment. So the very first thing we need to enter is we have to specify the installation option that we want. We have the option of choosing between install database software only or install database and config a database. So we will go for the first one, which is install software only, and we provide this response, which is install _db _ software only. Okay, I hope I spelled that correctly. I'll move to the next one. Specify the Unix group to be set for the inventory directory. So we already know that we have different groups install in the beginning, so I will choose the O install for that. All right, and then of course we need to specify our inventory location. If you remember, we create this a little bit earlier on, and I set that to UO1 app Oracle, and I call it Aura inventory. That's our inventory location, and we need to also respond with our Oracle home path. So the Oracle home path is U01 app Oracle product 19.3 and database home. That's our Oracle home location. And then specify the complete path for the Oracle base. The Oracle base is U01 app Oracle. Perfect. So move to the next one. And by the way, we are not going to be editing a complete list in this file, which simply means you don't have to. Some of the entries in this file is not necessary. As you can see, you when we move on. So the next value that we need to enter is whether we want to install Enterprise Edition or Standard Edition. For us, we choose the Enterprise Edition, EE, and that's it. So for the rest of the privileged operating system groups, I will just enter by default O install for all of them. O install, O install, O install, O install, O install, and O install. So feel free to enter whatever group you prefer to use. A lot of people prefer to use different types of groups, but for me, I just stick with O install. Some people like to use DBA. It's also good. Now we move to the root script execution configuration. Now for the root script execution, I really wanted to basically just do this automatically. So I will say, to execute the root manually, I will say false. I'll enter false for that. And then for the method, I will leave it blank. I don't have to enter because it's not compulsory. And the pseudo path is not compulsory. And we'll move to the grid options. The grid options, I don't have to enter anything in the grid options because we are not dealing with real application clusters installation. We're not dealing with rack installation, so we'll skip that. And then let's move over to database configuration options. In the database configuration option, the very first entry that we need to enter is the specific type of database to create. And in this case, I will just choose a general purpose. Okay, and the global database name will be dev. Since we are installing the dev environment, I will enter dev. And for the Oracle SID, I will enter dev as well. And for the DB configuration as a container DB, I will enter true for this, because I want to install as a multi-tenant architecture database. I want to install the container database and pluggable database. That's my option. And specify the pluggable database name for the pluggable database container. So I'm just gonna say dev pdb. Okay, and I have to specify the database character set. The character set for the database will be AL32 UTF-8. That's the character set for our database. And then the next is memory option. We don't have to do anything there. For the memory options, we don't need. For the memory limits as well, we don't have to enter any value. For the example schemas, I'll just leave that as blank. Alright. For the password, for the sys password, system password, and DBNNC password, I have prepared something very complex to use, and I'll just paste it in. That's the password for that. You have to be very, very careful when you get to this point, because if you enter a password that does not conform with Oracle, during the installation you will get an error message. That is guarantee. So look for a very, very complex password. There are, you can make it up, or you can find the way online to get some password for your sys, your system, and DBS and MP. So I'll place the same password for sys, and for the system I will put same password. All right, and for DBS and MP the same password, because I believe that password is very strong. All right, and then moving on to our starter DB management options. I really don't have to enter any option in this area. And then moving on to the cloud control. For the cloud control and the OMS, I just have to leave that blank because I'm not configuring anything for that for now. For the enterprise manager, I'm not configuring enterprise manager. I'll leave it empty as well. Recovery options. For the recovery options, I will enter file, system, storage. All right, the following groups, I don't have to specify any entry for the disk, ASM disk, or file system storage recovery. The only thing you have to specify right here is the first entry, which is either file system or ASM. Now for the next, I don't have to enter anything, and the SNMP I don't have to. So for file system storage data location, you can leave that blank. It's not necessary. For the recovery locations, you can leave that blank. For the ASM.disk group, you can leave it blank as well. And last but not least, for the ASM SNMPP password, you can also leave that blank. And that is the end of that file. So to save it, you press escape, you hold on to your shift, and you press column, and you write it, WQ, write quit with exclamation mark. You press enter. So that file is already edited and it's saved. If you want to look at the entry that we enter, we can just say cat db install.rsp, press enter. Now we can see that this file now has different response. We've provided response to each of the questions that were answered, that they asked us. So we said we need the EE options. We gave him our Oracle Home, Oracle Base, Oracle data file, then our inventory location we provide. We enter all the installation options, and in short, we enter our specific response for the type of environment that we're installing. All right. So the next response file we're moving on to is the netca response file, which is the network configuration assistance response file. That one we need to use it to install our Oracle 19c listener. So let's clear the screen and let's cd back to Oracle Home. From Oracle Home, the location of netca file is in assistant. So if we cd to assistant, there's a directory known as assistant, and we enter and we list the content of assistants. There are some directories there. There's one specifically which is called netca. Let's change our directory into that, cd netca, and let us list the content of that. My bad. Okay, and this is the one that we need, netca.rsp. The good thing about this is we don't have to enter a lot. This file is very simple to edit. So we say vi netca.rsp. Okay, we press I on the keyboard, and that's insert. To edit it, the only entry we need to provide in this file is the name of our listener, and I believe is somewhere around here. Which line is that? Oh, there it is, the listener name. So here, listener name, it's already actually edited for us. I want to specify the name of my listener to be listener, so I will just say listener. Feel free to type any name. You can type Tom, you can type Harry, you can type any your dog's name, whatever, as long as you remember your listener name is fine. So but for me, I'm entering my listener name as listener. I press escape, I press the column, and I save the file. Perfect. And then I go back to Oracle Home location, cd to Oracle Home. Okay, and clear the screen, list the content of Oracle Home, and let's change directly back to assistant. The last response file we want to edit is the DBCA, the database configuration assistance response file, and that also has a lot of entries that we have to edit. So let's go into cd into DBCA. So let's change directory into DBCA. Let's list the content, and there it is. There's a dbca.rsp. We have to open up that file, vi dbca rsp, press enter. So we're going to do the same thing. We follow the same process that we did on the last two response file. So insert, we need to enter appropriate values for all of the information in this file. So the first one is our global database name. It's a very mandatory response. So the name of our global database file is dev. We're installing a dev database. Our SID is dev. Okay. The database configuration type is single instance. SI is SI for single instance. There are three types that you can choose here. You can choose SI, single instance. You can choose RAC for rack, real application cluster, and you can choose rack, rack 1 node. For the purpose of this tutorial, we're going to choose single instance. Okay, and the next entry that we want to look at is the rack node 1 service name. We don't need to enter that. All right, so let's move on. And for the policy manage, we don't have to do anything about that. Create server pool, it's not necessary. Server pool name, not necessary. Cardinality, no, we don't have to provide any response. Force, we don't have to provide any response. PQ pool name, no response. PQ cardinality, no response. Create as container database, yes, we need to enter a response for this, because don't forget we are installing a multi-tenant architecture database. Okay, we're going to be installing a container database and also a pluggable database. So in the default value for this one, we will say true. Okay, so create as container database is true, and then move to the next one. We have to specify number of PDBs. So I just want 1 for now. Okay, this value you can specify from 0 to 4094, provided you have a license for all of those. Anyway, for this tutorial, I'm just gonna say 1 for the number of PDBs, and move to the next one, which is PDB name. For the PDB name, I'll just say dev underscore PDB. This matches the same thing. Okay, and for use local undo for PDBs, I believe yes, I want to specify that to be true. I want to use the local undo for my pluggable database. All right, for the PD admin password, I will just enter a very complex password as well. All right, and if we don't enter a complex password, we will receive warning when we're installing, and if this password is not complex enough for Oracle will complain during installation. So let's scroll to the next one. The next one is node list. We don't have to specify any response for that. Template name, this is very important. The Oracle has the Oracle installation deal with templates, so we need to provide the default path for our general purpose template. So, and I already have the path. The complete path of my template is in this location. It will be different for you because your path will be set up differently than mine. So but it generally is the same. It's in the same location. You have to go into your Oracle Home, All right, in the assistance directory, in the DBS directory, there's a template directory, and there are different types of templates inside this location. So pick the one that is suitable for your project and enter in the template. For the next set of response is asking for sys password. All right, the sys password, we need to enter a response, and make sure you enter something very, very complex. Like before, I will do the same thing. I will paste my password. All right, and for the system password, I'm going to use the same thing, the same complex password. For the Oracle Home user password, I do not need to specify anything for that. All right, I don't have to specify anything for that. For the Enterprise Manager configuration, I do not need any response for that. For the EM Express port, it's by default 5500. For the run CVU check, we don't need CVU checks here, so I'll leave it empty. For the DBS and MP password, I'll leave that empty as well. And moving on to OMS host will be blank. OMS port, I'll leave it empty. Enterprise Manager user, I'll leave it empty. Enterprise Manager password, I'll leave that empty. DV configuration, I'll leave that empty. DV username, I'll leave that empty. DV user password, I'll leave that empty. DV account manager name, empty. DV account manager password, I'll leave that empty. OLS configuration, I'll leave that empty. It's not mandatory. Data file jar location. Now here I do believe I have to specify where my data file should be copied to, because if you remember, we created a destination for our data file. Although, hear me, you don't have to, because as you can see here, it's not mandatory to specify. So I can either provide a location, or I can just totally skip it. It doesn't affect anything. Okay, for the data file jar location, I will leave that empty. All right, I move to the next one. For the data file destination, I will enter the Aura data destination I will created before. So UO1 app Oracle Aura data. Yes, UO1 app Oracle Aura data. That's our data file destination. And for our flash recovery area, I believe, yes, we have to enter that as well, and it will be U01 app Oracle flash recovery area. All right, and the storage type for our database will be file system. Okay, and the disk group, we do not have to enter that. I'll leave that empty. ASM SNMP password, I'll leave that blank. Recovery group name, it's not really mandatory to provide that group, but if you want, you can you can find any group to provide. But for this tutorial, I'm going to leave it blank. Recovery group name, and the character set that I will use is US. So basically US 7 ASCII. That is the character set that I want. It's actually the default, but which is okay for me as well. And for the national character set that I want is AL16U TF16. And for the register with directory services, I don't have to provide any response. For the directory service username, I don't have to provide a response. For the dir service password, I don't have to. For the wallet password, I don't have to provide any response. For the listener, yes, our listener name is listener. Should I do it in caps? Listener. Okay, that's our listener name. And for the variable file, we don't have to enter that. For the variables, I don't have to enter. Init params, no. Sample schema, absolutely. I want to have a sample schema, so I will enter true for this. Okay. For the memory percentage, I don't have to provide any response. And for the database type, I will just choose a multi-purpose type of database. So multi-purpose. And for the automatic memory management, I'll leave that empty. And for the total memory to assign to our database, I'll let Oracle just assign that by default. And so that comes to the end. That's the last entry in this response file. So press escape, column, write, and quit. So basically, let's save it. Perfect. All right. So so just for for a recap, we set the source, the Oracle environment variable. We set it. We create the directories for installations where all our Oracle files will go to. All right. We extracted Oracle binary files into the Oracle home, and we edited all our response files. So the database response file we edited, the netca response file we edited, and of course the dbca file we edited. Now the next step in this process is to run the installation for the database 19c base software. So we have to install the base software in a silent mode using the response file, and I have the command right here. I will put all the command for you so that you can also see it, but for now let's close this. Let's clear the screen, and let's cat the content of dbca one more time to see what's inside. So these are all the response that we provided in the dbca file. Okay. Feel free to be as detailed as possible if you want, and feel free to be as less detailed as possible. It's all depend on you. It's your choice. Okay. So now we're gonna go and install the Oracle 19c software. Alright, in order to install the Oracle 19c software, let's change directory to Oracle Home. Oracle Home. Okay, let's list the content of Oracle Home, and let's do run installer. Okay, in a silent mode. Okay, with a response file, and the path to that response file. All right, and that path is in the Oracle Home. If you remember, where the response file is in this location. So let's copy this path and let's paste it, and of course with the name of that response file, db_rsp. So what I say here is I say run installer, that is run the installation for Oracle 19c base software in a silent mode, right, using a response file. Okay, I'm using a switch response file, and I pointed the location or where the response file is. That response file was the one that we edited, and I will press enter, and see it's launching the Oracle database setup wizard, and is telling us the response file for this session can be found at this location. All right, and he said you can also find the log for this installation at this location. So let's go see what's happening. If I copy this log, okay, I can go to the root user and say tail -f, and then I paste the entire log path. And when I do that, it's actually telling me what's happening. It's showing step by step of what Oracle is doing in the background. So it's pretty detailed, but you can see that the installation is going. It's really going very fast and very quick. A lot of checks is going on. A lot of update is going on. A lot of checks, a lot of updates, and it's detailed. It's actually it's actually a lot going here. So but when you try to install the Oracle software in a silent mode, you will not see anything unless you tail it properly and to find out what's happening. So basically, the Oracle 19C base software was successfully set up. As you can see, successfully set up our software. All right, and once that is done, let's move on to our Oracle Home in order to tackle the NetCA installation. The NetCA installation just basically install the Oracle listener for us. All right, if I do lsnr-ctl, if I do a status now, we will get an error message because there is no listener on this server for Oracle to use. So let's press and check status. As you can see, it says connection to this port, this host 1521. There is no listener. That's the error message that came because we have no listener on this server, and that's why it failed. Now, in order to set up our Oracle 19C listener, we need to use the following command. All right, we say netca, all right, in a silent mode. Okay, and using a response file. All right, and of course we point the installation to where the response file location is, which is of course our Oracle Home. All right, in the assistants directory, right? I hope I'm typing this correctly. And in the netca directory, and then of course inside that we have a netca.rsp file. We already edited that response file, so let's press enter on that. Okay, when you press enter, what happened is the Oracle tried to pass the command argument. It went into that location and it looked for the response file. It found it, and then it said, okay, done parsing. Line argument, it says Oracle Net configuration completed successfully. There's a profile in that area, and then it said listener control complete. It's running listener control from this location. All right, and starting a listener, it said listener configuration complete successfully. All right, it now says Oracle Net service configuration is successful, and the exit code is 0. The exit code of 0 means everything went fine, there was no error. And now let's try again to use LSNR status. So if we do a status again, LSNR CTL status, so as you can see, we got that there is now a listener install. The listener supports no services yet, which is correct. We have no database installed, and that's why it's not supporting any service. But as far as listener installation is or creation is concerned, we successfully completed an installation of listener to our environment. So now your listener should now be configured correctly. Now the next section is to navigate to our Oracle Home and install our database, Oracle database 19C, using the Oracle DBCA response file that we configured earlier on. and we're almost there. So we just need to install the Oracle database now using the dbca command in a silent mode. But the switch in the configuration for that is, so let's clear the screen for that, and let's check the location where we are. So pwd, we're in the Oracle home. So let's list the content of that. Perfect. From here we can say dbca. All right, in order to install the Oracle database 19c using a response file, we have to say dbca. We have to enter create database using a response file, and then we give the response file path. All right, and if you remember, is in Oracle home. Okay, assistance directory, and then this time is in dbca directory. All right, and then of course we accept the value of dbca rsp. So dbca .rsp, that is our response file. So we say execute database configuration assistance. All right, using this in a silent mode, using the switch create a new database. All right, and then using the response file, which is in this location, and then we'll press enter. So as you can see, the Oracle is preparing our database for operation, and what it's doing now is copying all our database files into their location. So it's copying the control files, is installing all our redo log files, is installing all our database files into the correct locations. All right, in order to know what's going on, what you can do is you can go into the root directory and check the logs. All right, and the log can look something like this. So let's go into the root directory. Let's cancel this operation here. Let's clear the screen. In order to check this operation, to check what's going on, because Oracle will not show you anything because we put it in we put a silent switch here. So in order to see what's happening, we just say tail -f, okay, and we point it to a path where our log is. So usually it will be UO1 app Oracle, right? The CFT logs, CFGT logs, and the DBCA directory, and the name of our database is dev, right? And the DB name, so dev log as well. So when we tell this location, we'll find out what Oracle is exactly doing during this installation of new database, and then we press enter. So we can see that the DBCA, the database configuration progress is 8%, it says at this point, and now the DBCA progress is 32%. What is it doing? It was copying database base file at this point, and now it's creating and starting the Oracle instance right now, and the progress is 32%. If we go to the installation, it's the same thing, 32% complete. So it's creating and starting Oracle instance. Now log files, creating and starting Oracle instance. That is the progress of our DBCA for now. That is very, this command is very useful to monitor the installation. So just to see what Oracle is doing behind the scenes. So depending on your infrastructure and the resources that you have, this may be slow, or it can be fast as well. So you can skip forward this path to go to the next path, or you can grab a cup of coffee and just watch the progress as well. So the DBCA progress is now at 46%, and as of 2023 11:04 at 7:37 p.m. as Mountain Time, is completing the database creation. And if we switch back to the command for the Oracle user, you see is at 46% as well, and it's completing database creation. The difference is that for the log is just more detailed than the installation itself. The installation is just showing the percentage of completion, whereby the log is displaying extra information regarding the installation process. And now the DBCA is 54% complete, and is now creating our pluggable database. So the progress is 54% and creating pluggable databases, executing post configuration actions. So the database creation is complete. It's asking us for the details to check the log files at UO1 app Oracle CFG tools logs DBCA dev, and the database information is given to us right here. The global database name is dev, and the system identifier SID is dev. Alright, so as you can see, our database creation completed successfully. It gave us the seed name, and it tells us to go look at this log location. We are already looking at that location, which is this. This is the log that he was talking about. Okay, in order to check if our new database is working correctly, let's clear the screen properly, and then let's change directory to home. The first thing I want to do is regarding our listener. Let's check if our listener is still running. So lsnrctl status. Perfect. As you can see now, our listener has picked up the services, and the name of the services is dev, and it says status is ready, has one handler, before, when we run this command, it says this listener has no service, but now since we install a new database, it has a new service dev. Perfect. So to work with our new database, let's check the aura tab file. So we say cat etc aura tab to check the identity of our database. Once you do that, you see there is one database in one Oracle home location, and the name of that database is dev. All right, so we're going to select that database. Let's say .aura env, press enter, and then Oracle system identifier, yes, I say it's dev, press enter. Perfect. And then to log in, let's use the SQL plus to log into our new database. I'll say SQL plus /as sysdba, and press enter. Perfect. So now we're logging into the Oracle Database 19c Enterprise Edition, release 19.0, and the production version 19.3. The first thing we want to see is whether this is a multi-tenant database or not. Let's type show pdbs. As you can see, yeah, we have a seed PDB database and we have a dev PDB database. Let's check the name of our database. Select name and database role from $v database. So the name of our database is dev. The role is just primary. All right, and let's do select name from $v pdbs. So for our pluggable databases, their names are, there's one seed pluggable database and there's one dev pdb pluggable database. Now, in order to enter more commands, let's say we want to check the version of our database. We can just say select banner from $v version. All right, where banner like Oracle. Okay, let's use a percentage for that. Let's press enter. It says no row selected. No worry, let's just select banner from $v version actually. So when we say select banner from $v version, it's telling us that the Oracle Database 19c Enterprise Edition release 19.0 is installed. Perfect. We like to see that. Now, if we want to check the location of our data files, we say select name from $v data file. Okay, and when we do that, we see that we have the systems data file in this location. We have the CSOX data file in this location. We have the undo TBS01 in this location. We have the pluggable seed database systems file in this location, and so on and so forth. You can see we have lots of our data files and they are correctly identified. Now we can also say select name from DBA We can also check the status of all our data files by saying select file ID, file name, status from DBA data files, and press enter. So now we can see that file ID name is 1 and sorry, file ID name is system, and the status is available. All right, and if we want to check the list of active sessions, we can say select systems ID, serial number, username, status, OS user from $v session. And as you can see, we have lots of stuff going on. So we have systems ID 1, the serial number is 16715, and the username is null. The status is active in Oracle. So for the systems ID number 3, the serial number is 47354, and the username for that is sys. There's a sys user there, and the row, the status of that sys is active, and the OS user is Oracle. So as a DBA myself, I'm satisfied to all this information that I'm seeing. And see, these queries will help you gain insight into your Oracle 19c database, and they are very good starting point for routine monitoring and management. So basically, you can see that your new database is working correctly and everything is going well. And there you have it, Oracle 19c installed on Linux 7.9 using a response file option, and our installation was actually in a silent mode. If you found this video very helpful, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.